right, so we're going to start this off with a cheers.
Cheers.
And
Sunday fun day.
welcome to LOUDdispatch.
Welcome, people.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get to our sponsor right away. Our sponsor is Sunday Fun Day Rally,
Right.
which is when you get drunk, shoot a podcast, and then you sober up and eat really good food that Cheech cooks, and then you get drunk for another podcast. And that's what we're doing today. So welcome to Sunday Fun Day.
I grill rather well.
He grills really well.
I grill rather well.
Yummy, yummy. And I learned that American cheese is not actual cheese, and I still love it. I don't care.
So here's an interesting fact for you. If you actually take Kraft cheese and put it on a skillet, right?
Okay.
It's the only cheese that will not melt to the skillet, to a flat griddle.
So it's a superior cheese. Is that what we're saying?
No, we're saying it's not cheese.
It sounds superior to me. Superior cheese. I'm sorry, I take that as superior cheese. Somebody has genetically engineered better cheese. It tastes better. It doesn't stick to shit. And it probably has a shelf life of like 2 years.
You know what? I'll give that to you only because I really like Spam, and my wife has no idea.
You like Spam?
Oh my God!
It could be good. It could be very good.
If Spam had its own thing, like ramen does, I know it's in a can and everything, but fried Spam, oh my God! Oh, fried Spam sandwich with the Miracle Whip and a little bit of that genetically engineered
cheese.
Cheese.
My
God!
We'll call it Chez.
We'll call it Chez.
We'll call it Chez. So, real quickly, when I was 14, 13, I won a Spam eating contest. I was upside down. Somebody had to hold my legs up in the air while I ate raw Spam off a plate, and I did it the fastest. I also have the Chubby Bunny record.
So, welcome to episode 9.
Yes, 9.
We told you that we were going to tell you a little bit about us and a little bit about where we came from.
Actually, let's not lie to them. We told you that we were going to talk about local artists. And we have decided since that we're going to spotlight local artists differently in different episodes to give them more credit than what we would be able to give them now. So instead, we're going to tell you all about our past and our trials and tribulations.
Yes.
And fun stuff that we've done. And because part of this is just about getting to know us. And, we mentioned before that we've both been in bands for quite a long time, different bands, different forms of music, and really I was into photography, you were into graphic design, we had a lot of stuff going on there, but our main love was music. And so I'll tell you this quick story. I met Mark. Christ, I was in my first band when I was 12 years old. It had been about 18, 19 years ago. Yeah. No, it's probably been longer than that. No, I was about 20 whenever I got into Drop Monday, and I met you right around the beginning of that. Yeah. And because I remember I turned 21 in the first year of Drop Monday. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yep. So it would have been I'm 38. So it would have been about 18 years ago. I'm 36. So I was about 18. And I had known Brandon. We used to practice at this place called WPMG Music, Western Pennsylvania Musicians Group. It was fucking wingnuts. It was the weirdest place ever. So what you got to understand is that bands have to practice somewhere. Normally, everybody thinks it's people's garages and shit. There are actually practice facilities, practice places that you can rent out, leave your equipment there, have a key to the room, go in. This way you don't piss off wives and siblings and mothers and fathers, neighbors, all that bullshit. Yeah. So at the time, the place that he bought was a bar that had hotel rooms upstairs. It was a brothel, basically, back in the day, that they turned into a gym and then turned into a practice facility. So the downstairs had this big stage with a drum kit that anybody could use, and it was already supplied with gear. Yeah, it was super weird. It was it was cool, but it was just weird anyway. So long story short, so we met
years and years ago, and Mark and I have just been friends ever since. The first show I ever played with Drop Monday is Brandon and I, who Brandon will be on the show at one point. Brandon was the lead singer of Drop Monday, and I was the lead singer. He was also a singer and played guitar and the Dream Intended. I mean, he was a crazy songwriter, like very emotional, very passionate, and really like made everything fun. Like, when you're in a band, and anybody that's in a band can relate to this, it's almost like being in a relationship. The people that you play music with are the people that you're like, you get the most offended by. Like, oh my God, so and so didn't text me back.
It's like family. It's
exactly
truly like family. You know how pissed off you get at people, but they'll always love you, right?
Right.
It's the same concept.
Same idea. Same idea. And even when you get pissed off, you still work it out.
And what I found is that is one of the keys to people liking your band.
Yes.
They want to be part of what you have, and if you show that on stage, Drop Monday was good at recording, but we were ultimately a live band. We had a great time live. We did a lot of energy, a lot of movement, and that's what made people want to follow Drop Monday and be a part of Drop Monday. Is they wanted to be a part of that connection that we had. Same with the Dream Intended. I mean, that's how it works.
I was kind of a band whore. I was in a lot of bands. I was in a rock rap band called Unspoken. I was in a ska band called the Ska-Authentics. I was in another one called the Pistol Jacksons. I played trumpet. I played trombone. We moved on to a band called the Have-Nots after that, which was like a punk ska band.
They were a good time. Good band.
Really got some traction. We were sponsored by like PBR. That's where I really started to like learn the music industry. At the same time, like I'm also like hanging out with Drop Monday and like trying to get my own thing started, which is where the Dream Intended started to come in. The Have-Nots started to fall apart. I was part of the Brass Holes, which was like the horn section for.
I love that name.
For the Have-Nots, which if you ever get a chance, YouTube Haze, Woes, and Beers by the Have-Nots. That was our CD that we released. So then we get into the Dream Intended, and I start playing a little bit with Drop Monday here and Mark. And I remember the first show that I had ever played with Drop Monday, and I was still in the Have-Nots, and I was just telling Mark this a few minutes ago. So we're playing at some gymnasium in some high school. I have no idea. It's like, I don't even want to say, whatever. Anyway, and there was a couple of bands. Everybody's warming up. There's like, it's just real low key. There's like a stage, but like nobody's really like on it. They're kind of
on the stage in the middle of a gymnasium.
It was on,
like at one end.
Yeah, it was on one end.
It was like just a flat stage that was risers.
Basically. Yeah.
It was Penn State McKee Sports.
Yeah, it was.
Party, yeah.
It was weird.
I remember that setup.
So Brando had a van that we came in, and we were like, all right, well, our set's not for an hour. Let's go out to the van and party for a little bit. And I'm thinking, we're going to go out to the van and have like a beer or two. And we go out to the van and hotbox it. And I, at the time, was, I smoked a lot of weed, but like, I was really high.
So sometimes environments and new environments and different situations can make your high more intense.
Yeah, and I walk into this auditorium filled with like teenagers, and they're all like ready to rock, and I'm like,
and you really didn't have much parts at this point. You were so fresh that like you didn't quite know the singing parts. You
guys had like 10 or 12 songs, and I was only part of like 3 of them, and Brandon was just like, dude, just dance around in the background. We would just love having you. And I was just like,
hype man.
Yeah, hype man. Like, who has a hype man at an alt rock show? Like, but whatever. I did it because I thought, what the hell? I'm high and it was fun. It was like, and like these are the things that I'm talking about. Like, you can't have that chemistry with just everybody.
I got one for you. All right. So when I was joining Drop Monday, I really didn't want to be in a band. I was getting out of a relationship. I just didn't want to be into a band. my drummer buddy, who we'll also have on here. You know, I mean, Buddy was a big part of Drop Monday and a big part of any other band I was in, really. And he kept calling me. He's like, "You got to come listen to this guy. You got to come listen to this guy." And I remember one day I just gave in. I was like, "Fuck it, you know, let's go." And I went down to his place, his mom's place, and you know, we're 18, 19. And no, this was a buddy's mom's place in South Park. It was just down the street. So I go down and I meet Jay and Brandon, and I remember my first thoughts of Jay was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" But Brandon, so he picks up an acoustic guitar and he sings Ocean Town for me, just him on acoustic, and I was blown away. I mean, my first thought was, I can market this guy. Like, I got to be a part of this. And so I joined them. We did 2 practices in a week, and then that weekend they had a show at Pitt Johnstown. No, yeah, it was a rugby party after rugby week at like Cal U or something. And we were out at somewhere by Pitt Johnstown in a town called Jerome, I think. And we're at this little fucking house. We set up, I know like 2 songs of the 6 we're gonna play. I'm, you know, my butthole's so puckered. And these rugby, like, and I'm not much of a drinker, I'm a smoker and stuff, you know, so we go out and I'm blitzed, but you know, everybody else is hammered. And these big fucking rugby guys start fighting over something. Massive brawl, right? And you're talking like probably 60 full-grown giant men just wailing on each other in this little house. So we all form a line to like block the gear, and like we're getting spears thrown on us and beers getting thrown on the gear. Right. Brandon goes to jump in for some reason. I don't know what the fuck he had a fight in this for. We grab him. No, you know, you're like, you're with us, you know. And I'm thinking, as this is going on, this is so fucking rock and roll right here. Like, I'm so in on this. God damn, these guys are great. So then we play our set. Everybody has a good time. We're out there to get beer at the keg, and another fight starts at the keg. Same people, you know, another 60 people brawling outside the keg. And I remember sitting back, smoking, and watching this thing going, fucking A, I cannot wait to see where this goes.
You know what? In all honesty, it is good times. Here's what you got to understand, right? Like, when somebody tells you, like, yeah, I'm in a band, like, you should come out and see my band sometime, right? Like, you're going to see a show. You're going to see a performance, whether that show is good or bad. Mm-hmm. But the work and the effort that the band members have put into actually creating this entertainment environment is unbelievable. And what actually happens is even crazier. Like, it's nuts how things work out.
I want to say in most places the work they put in.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes it's just there's no work involved.
Yeah, sometimes it's just like, you know what, I really don't care. You know what I mean? And then there's other times where it's like, okay, this band is driving from like another state to like come and play with us. Like, maybe we should give a crap.
Those were the worst. Because like Drop Monday played, I figured about 100 shows a year. We ended up roughly playing, you know, 1 weekend night and 1 weeknight. You know, sometimes it was Friday and Saturday. We did that for years, and got to be honest, we know a lot of people had a lot of friends, but we did not have that many friends. We could not fill those fucking seats every night. You know, you maybe get one good show a month out of it.
I used to make this analogy to people, like, think of your absolute favorite band, right? Mm-hmm. Like your absolute, like, the Motion City soundtrack, like Butch Walker, like those are like some of my like favorite artists, you know what I mean? Like, but if they were playing every weekend at a venue, like a regular venue or a different venue, like around Pittsburgh, like, I wouldn't go every night.
Couldn't afford to, I mean, yeah. Like, our shows might have been cheap to get at $5 at the door or something, but then you got to drink, have a good time. You know, I mean, you don't have to.
Well, not only that, but it's like, you know, you want to get involved, you want to have a good time, but like, you're gonna get bored with it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
we're not writing that much material every weekend, you know.
Right. Like, you know.
So yeah, there were always the diehards, the people that felt like they had to be there, you know.
Which, you know, mad credit to. And like, but what I'm saying is, like, so it's hard, it's difficult. Like, you know, support your local musicians because they need it.
when you can. And if you're a local musician, do not oversaturate your market.
Yeah, like don't get offended easily either. Like you gotta understand that people have lives.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Most of the time, like musicians, we did it because we loved it. So like we'd pay to play. Like, and when we say pay to play, it's like we would buy the tickets just so that we could play the show. Like, you know what I mean? And then give them out for free because we wanted people to come and see us.
Yeah.
Like,
we knew our people couldn't buy $25 tickets, so we'd fucking buy it and then get reimbursed, you know, with the show money or whatever, or not. It didn't really matter, you know.
Yeah, it didn't matter because everybody was coming out, everybody was having a good time, everybody had stories to tell afterwards.
Yeah.
Like what happened. Like I can't even tell you. Like I had the I don't know what you would call it. I had the luxury of living with my band members.
Oh yeah.
We rented out like a 5-bedroom house, and there was like 6 of us, and like we all lived together.
It was your band and Birdman, right?
Yeah, it was our band and Birdman minus like one member.
Yeah.
Still him. It's like, so basically, like we had like a kegerator, and like we had like parties every night, and like, you know, you live this like rock star lifestyle in Pittsburgh, and it's like, you know, you start to realize like what's more important to you. You know what I mean? The music. So, but we were always pushing because we love the music, we love the brand, and we supported it. Like I never felt uncomfortable getting in my car and listening to a recording at full tempo, like full sound, and just being like, yes, this is us. You know what I mean? Yeah, full volume. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And so I felt like that with Drop Monday a lot too. Like you put it on, and even if stuff's like you recognize missed notes or things, you're still like, damn, this is some good shit.
You're always going to. An artist is always going to find a flaw in something.
Oh yeah, Christ. Nothing you're going to do is perfect, but most people don't know it.
Right.
Remember that. Most people do not know it.
Right. You're the only person that knows it.
Mm-hmm.
It just like, it cracks me up. So like, you know, you think you know all this stuff about the music industry, and every day you learn more and more and more and more and more. When I got into the Dream Intended, like, you know, started taking off, and we started moving, we started getting traction, started figuring out what we needed to do. And at the time, Facebook and MySpace was like the big thing, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I never got into that though.
And we got approached by like all these bands, and we were playing shows outside of states and like in state and like all over the place, and like doing all this fun shit and like just having a good time. And we got approached by a record label, and we were like, oh, a record label wants us. Like they came to a show, they saw us, they liked us. Like,
the golden fucking ticket.
Right, the golden ticket. Okay, so this is where Experience 101 comes in. So, indie record labels, right? Indie record labels have to be a subsidiary of a major record label. Let me rephrase that. The way it works is kind of like a hierarchy. So you have your major record labels, your indie record labels, and then your indie record labels, right? Your indie record labels sign all these like local artists, right? And they're all over in every city, right? In every town, like major city. They sign you, right? They might sign like 20 artists, right? Of those 20 artists, they help them a little bit with like recording and playing shows, like with a booking manager, just a little bit.
Yeah. And
they see who is the best. Out of those, the next sister indie label takes them over. The bigger sister indie label takes them over. And they take the top ones off of each layer there, and then they compete through SoundScan, which is what digital downloading is, buying CDs, the whole 9 yards, right? And they look at the numbers and they go, well, okay, these are the top ones. Let's sign these guys to the major label. Like, that's how it works. So we didn't know that. And the Dream Intended was like, wow, this record label wants to sign us. They're called Sound Spectrum Records. They have a magazine.
You look them up online, they have a website. You're like, oh, shit.
They have an Angel Fire website. Like, wow. We totally got to sign with these guys. So But then we started doing some research, right? And you start looking at the other artists that they put out, and you notice that you're their first one, and they have one more that they're getting ready to, and you're like, I don't know. That's kind of sketchy. Like, who's the other artist? And the other artist sounds nothing like you.
It's like a Barry Manilow I want to be.
Yeah, like nothing like you. You're like, it's like you're a hip hop artist that just got signed to a country label, and you're like, wait a second, this is not. I'm gangster rap, not country. What the hell? Like, so, you know, we get the contracts in front of us, and we're like, look, we're not gonna sign. Like, we need to look it over. We need to have our lawyer look it over. Blah blah blah. And we wound up going on. The thing is, when you have one label looking at you, that's not necessarily good.
No.
You want
it's better than none, but you know.
Right. You want them fighting.
Sunday fun day.
Right. You want them fighting them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so you don't take the first two. You did. Later on down the line, the Dreamington did take a record deal. It was a subsidiary of a major record label, which I won't mention. And we had a producer in New York that, like, you know, was a agent, manager, and all that good stuff. And we recorded tracks. We did some stuff with Fox TV. Like, did all kinds of crazy stuff. And in the end, it was either like, you know, kind of shit or get off the pot. Are we going to take this to the next level and give it a shot, or is this it? Because, one, we're getting tired of it. Like, you know what I mean?
A lot of effort, a lot of energy goes unpaid.
You have no idea. Like, every waking moment that I wasn't at work trying to make money was trying to sell this band and sell this brand and what went into it, because I believed it.
That's why we've learned we don't give a shit about. We just want to do this.
Right.
This is just about doing it. I mean, if it makes it, it makes it. We don't give a shit. But
cool. Like, if you guys like it, cool.
By the way, Brand, we got stickers coming. I ordered them between the 8th and 9th episode here today, and I already got the proof, and they look sick. So
that's the true story.
Yeah. So fucking right. Wee.
Let's go ahead and cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Wait, I gotta reach my beer. Okay, I got it. Wee. Cheers. Stickers.
Cheers to that.
We're going to sticker everybody's car. All 5 of you Loudies.
So if you want a Loudie sticker,
email us.
LOUDdispatch. Email us, Facebook us, Instagram us, Twitter us, whatever. You know, tweet us. We'll figure it out. Gmail us. We have all that.
Just let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Call us. Most of you actually like know us or live with us.
Yeah, it's, you know, we do this for you guys and for us because it's fun.
Yeah. Let us know.
So, Mark,
Cheech,
how many bands have you been in? Like, outside of Drop Monday, like, jam session wise, like, what are your,
right.
like?
I think a total of 4. One of them was for one show. It was after Drop Monday and everything. And we were called something like White on Rice on a paper plate in a snowstorm with a glass of milk. It was something really stupid like that. And we did it just because, you know, Lachek.
Yeah.
Lachek is a drummer who drummed with Drop Monday a little bit. You know, some other bands we played with. Good friend, Luge. His wife was doing some kind of party or get together. And, you know, it was kind of a big deal, big event. So we put a band together, learned like 10 covers. It was like I went out and rocked it. We all wore, I think we had black shirts, red ties, black pants, white shoes or something, or white ties and white shoes. I don't know. It was slick. I mean, it was cool. We could have done. People were like, "Oh, that was great," you know. But I know the people that own the place apparently, and they were there. And they were like, "Oh, that was really good. You guys want to play other places?" And I was like, "I don't think we're designed to do that, but I'll ask," you know. But it never went anywhere. And then I played in a band called. We had 3 different names in high school. Uncle Monkey, Dead Monkey. Because we found out that there was an Uncle Monkey in Australia already. So we killed Uncle Monkey. It was Dead Monkey. And we had another name. I can't remember what it was right now. That might have been it. It might have been 3 full bands. And then I jammed with numerous people trying to start bands. And You know, I never felt good enough about it to get us out there. You know,
which I fully understand. I fully understand that. There's a lot of bands that I know where they're like, yeah, we're a band, and you're like, oh, where do you play? And they're like, nowhere yet.
yeah, I have a band. You do? What's your name? I don't know.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Like, why not? Like, get your stuff out there. It doesn't matter if it sucks. It doesn't matter because the only way that you're going to get better is by playing terrible shows.
Yep.
I can't tell you, like, okay, so I played trumpet and trombone in like ska bands for a long time, like all through high school, like in college, like played trumpet and trombone, so I know that instrument like inside and out. Like any brass instrument, know it inside and out. Same like Mark knows the basses inside and out. Like
yeah, we'll say
like nobody's business, right? Thing is though, is like humidity plays a huge part, and like especially in tuning, the brass holes had a bari sax player, a tenor sax player, an alto sax player, and 2 trumpet players. Okay, trumpet/trombone players. That's a lot of horns, plus a guitar player, a bass player, and a drummer to all try to keep in tune for every song in a bar or in a restaurant or outside or wherever they want you to play, wherever the venue is. So, like, my point being is that I've played a lot of terrible, terrible shows.
Oh yeah.
Man, like, you know it. You know you played a bad show. Then you've also played shows that have been like nothing you can ever experience in your entire life.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And this, I think, can go across the board for any artist. Like, if you are a chef and you create something for somebody that is your idol and they adore it and they love it, that's something that's like, you know what I mean? Or like, if you're, you know, whatever, a painter and somebody you idolize, like, sees your artwork and like enjoys it, like,
even if it's not somebody you idolize, anybody who sees your emotional output and appreciates it, that's a huge feeling. And when you get hundreds of people to thousands of people in a room that appreciate your creative and emotional output, it is a feel. And not only that, because that's great in itself, but when the band is together, when everything's tight, when that groove is perfect, and maybe this is because I'm a bass player, but I think it's for all musicians.
Yeah.
Is when the band is just right on. And sometimes it's only for a matter of a couple minutes a show. It is euphoric. You know what I mean? That beautiful feeling of just every note on time, every note like perfect, and oh.
So, quick story, we used to play a lot of shows for Faded Industries, and they're good friends of ours, great people, like totally follow them, totally check them out. Faded Industries. But they used to put on these shows, right? So we were playing this show at like the World or Metropole, or one of those places that just bars that just kept changing names and changing names, right?
Yep.
So we're playing this show, and as we're playing it, the middle of the song, all the power cuts out.
Yep.
This is on YouTube too. You can look it up.
Clip views.
The crowd was singing along, and we were still going. So we just kept the song going, and when the power came back on, we actually were on page and like right on note.
Nice.
And everything clicked on and worked the way it was supposed to. And like, these are moments that like you can never actually have unless you're like that one cohesive group all thinking together and all on the same page.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
playing, you know, Drum Monday had a drummer who was also our producer for a while, Tommy Minzak. And Tommy and I've known him for a long time, longer than I've known anybody else at Drum Monday or anything. I've known, because I knew him from my first band, and
good people.
Yeah, he's a good dude, and he was tough. You know, he'd tell you if you were off.
Yeah.
He would tell you, man. And you know, let me say this: although he was extraordinary drummer. Maybe top five in the state. Maybe. I mean, he was amazing. He had a way about him that was very crude and direct, and but he definitely helped us out a ton. Helped me out personally. Learning to anticipate the note,
Yeah.
which was something I wasn't used to doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times of it. Yeah. So let me ask you this: what ended Dream Attended?
A lot of things. It was the fact that like the label that we got signed to signed us to a 3-song demo, which we did. They hooked us up with a booking agent who was supposed to book us on weekends, like on weekend tours, and wound up booking us in like places that we were not able to get to on like a Wednesday night, like
Yeah,
Vermont.
yeah,
Like on a Wednesday night at some like split door show club. And
yeah.
you're like, well, I'm not going to drive all the way to like Vermont to play a show where I'm
For
going to get,
$35.
if that, like
Yeah,
if I get the gas money, like not
yeah.
only that, but not me and my 6 band members or 5 band members are not going to do this. Like
No,
it's not going to happen. Like we have to take off work like
jobs and
that day and the
lives
next day.
and
Right. So it's finding the right cohesion, and at the point we were all kind of like burnt out. Like I had started a hip hop project called the Merlin Brandos, which like was like really getting traction. I was doing a lot of video work at the time. Like
mhm.
I just like, and I was really getting into baking, and it was like I didn't have time for it. Not to mention like we had all met like significant others, and it was kind of hard because you know, the significant other that I met happens to be my wife.
It's hard
And
to have multiple families.
right, like we said at the very beginning of this podcast, a band is like a relationship.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yep.
Like it really is. So trying to have multiple relationships, it's very difficult. Like
Bad idea.
yeah. You know what I
um,
mean? Like multiple relationships in a band is one thing because you all have the same common interest. But
yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like not saying that you can't have a girlfriend or a wife and still be in a band because that's totally
it's
acceptable.
possible.
It's totally acceptable. For me, it just wasn't. You know what I mean? And for the
I
rest of my band members,
I feel
like
the same way. So Drop Monday started ending because um, we we all started growing our separate ways,
right,
and the dream of making it big. So at the beginning, one of us had a great job, like $100,000 a year job, or early on in life. So that he was already very, um, we're not going to do tours or anything unless we get signed to like $1 million contract, right? Which we knew was never going to happen. So right off the bat, although we could gain some traction, we never had that urge to go out and tour and stuff. We just did a lot of local shows. We did a lot of shows out, other areas, other states, but never on a tour basis. But we just started, you spend so much time with somebody, you start to hate them sometimes.
oh yeah,
That like, even in any
oh
relationship, the more time you spend with somebody, the more you start to despise them. And we got to that point, and some of it was irreparable. And I've remained friends with everybody, and most of us have, but some of us just won't see eye to eye anymore. And I was also getting married shortly after Drop Monday broke up, and one of us had already been married. Lots of different things. Buddy, I think, was getting married.
yeah,
He was married before me, so he might have been married already. Maybe shortly after this breakup. But yeah, you tend to go different ways. Sometimes relationships end, and that's what happened to Drop Monday and the Dream Attended, really.
yeah. And that's the best way to summarize it. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do to change that factor. But looking forward, knowing that in the future, like if you ever were to get into another band, knowing that like, hey, this is the commitment that it takes. And I think even doing this podcast is like some sort of commitment.
Oh, there's
Like,
definitely a level of commitment, and we both find it hard to sync up our schedules.
Right.
You know, we work kind of a similar schedule, but you start so much earlier than you wake up just earlier than I do, period. That's your problem.
Yeah.
So you go to bed a lot earlier than I do. And
tons of issues
with the kids and everything, you know, we might get a chance, Cheech and I, to text here and there throughout the week, make a call, maybe do a Zoom meeting so we can discuss the next podcast once a week. We're trying to get together every 2 weeks to get a couple episodes done now. We could do them online, but this is so much more fun.
Not to interrupt you, but
go ahead.
The thing that I love most about it is like the fact that we can do and talk about whatever we want to, because you and I have very interesting conversations.
We're goofy as fuck, which
we are, and
you know, but we're also somewhat intelligent, so it allows us to have deeper conversations on a very fun level, I think.
I think intelligence is one thing, and I think experience is
the other.
We've had a lot of experiences.
Okay. All right. I'll go with that.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to experiences.
We've had a lot of experiences.
Let's say intelligence is lacking in this couch.
No, intelligence is learned on this couch. All right. The past always repeats itself. So, like, you know, the Roaring 20s, you knew this pandemic was going to happen, right? Like, it happened in 1920, happened in 2020, like, it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But now we're in the green phase, so now it's okay for me to sit next to Mark in a kilt with, you know, no underwear. It's fine.
There was nothing there. You can't say anything.
Stop. Anyway. The point that we're getting at is that we have so many fun stories to tell, and you know we'll get to them in different episodes. But like that's what we just wanted to talk about. Another interesting topic that I'd like to story that I'd like to share. So, the Dream Intended opened for LOUDies, and at the time it was right whenever we got signed.
Teenage dirtbag baby.
Yeah. I'm just a teenager.
Oh yeah, there's actually a rhythm to it. See, I'm not a singer.
Listen to Iron Maiden, baby, with you. Ooh. Yeah. So
all right.
That one, right?
Yeah.
Teenage
I saw him with Zebrahead.
Yeah, we opened for him. Thank you. Not only that, they invited us back to their tour bus. I'm not saying this to brag. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because we had literally just signed with a label, a real indie label. I'm not going to say the name right now, but they did a lot of work with bands that were on MTV, specifically like bands they would use in like the real world, like Road Rules, like Challenge, and like all that stuff, like bands, the indie bands that you would hear. It was kind of like a test market. Like if they liked it on that show, then they would probably like this band, you know what I mean? Like, so it was like an indie label that was like right there. Like,
I'm gonna let the LOUDies in on a secret. Cover your ears.
Go for it.
Cheech doesn't remember the name of the label.
Shut up, man.
I love that cover your ears with the headphones. That's good. All right, sorry, that was fun for me. I don't know about you guys.
No, in all honesty, I probably shouldn't even say the name of the label.
No, probably not.
I did, but like just because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But at any rate,
I sold you out.
Anthony,
all right. Anyways,
Anthony Santos was our producer.
Okay.
And Anthony, we recorded up in New York. We did TV shows for Fox. Like we did all this stuff, and like we got signed to this three song demo, right? We thought it was going to go so much further, and he wanted us to go further. When we met up with LOUDies and we started playing the show, that Anthony was like, "Hey, LOUDies is signed to, or Hawthorne Heights, who was signed to Fuel Bar Ramen, is signed to like a sister label of ours." Just to give you guys some insight, you should go over and talk to them because they're playing at a venue shortly down the road from you guys, like literally within walking distance. You should go talk to them at the meet and greet and give them some demos and like some stickers and be like, "Hey, like, we should meet up," in hopes that down the road you could go on tour with Hawthorne Heights. And at the time, Hawthorne Heights was like just getting big off like Ohio is for Lovers, like the Fueled by Ramen kick with like Gym Class Heroes and Fall Out Boy and all that shit was like popping off, you know what I mean? Warped Tour was still a thing, like, so we're like, yeah, we go down, we go to meet LOUDies, and we go to meet Hawthorne Heights. We get there, they're like, oh, cool, man, you know, here, we give them a couple of CDs, we're like, check us out, you know, the CD's called Break Up the Movies, like, you'll love it, like, great, like, yeah, cool, thanks. And as we're walking away, they're throwing them in the trash and laughing at us. And we're like, man, fuck you guys. Like, we had just went through all this trouble to get to see you, and like, this is what we get. So
there's a lot of ignorant people in the industry.
Luckily, our drummer worked for a sticker company, a bumper sticker company, and we were getting our stickers on 10,000 sheet rolls. So we had like 3-4 rolls of stickers, like 4,000 or 40,000 stickers. So we just sticked the whole fucking back of Hawthorne Heights bands with like the Dream Intent stickers. And then we played the show with LOUDies, which I thought was funny.
As is needed. Yes.
It has to happen. As a matter of fact, I remember a Drop Monday show where you had a guy called, Johnny Ballgame?
Johnny Ballgame!
I believe there's a classic reference there called Getting Ballgame.
Getting Ball. So, yeah, we'll tell this story. Trials and Tribulations. Talk about relationships. We had a guitar player right off the bat before my brother joined us, and his name was Johnny Ballgame. I remember his real name, but I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
Johnny Ballgame. And this guy could shred, right? Older guy. He was about 10 years older than us. Could shred and could party. So he really, like, taught us a ton early on about how to act as a band, how to write, how to get the crowd involved, right? He really brought Drop Monday along quickly. But he was an alcoholic, and he was an asshole. And him and I, anybody that knows me, a lot of you right now, maybe like 10 years from now, we have millions of listeners, and most of you don't, but I'm a pretty easy to get along with person.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, very easygoing. I accept almost everybody. Very rarely do I find natural tension with people. Johnny was one of those people that we instantly had tension.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. And like, I would pick him up for practice and drive him, and you could cut the tension with a fucking knife in the car. But we would talk and act cool. We always did. But every time some issue came up, it was always he would look at me. And so, first time we had an issue with him, we're playing this show at this family show. We're playing in this cool theater in Washington, PA. Family thing. There's a couple hundred people, families, kids, everything in the crowd. We're playing. Johnny can't hear his singing in the monitors, and we had told them not to put it in there because it messed Brandon up. So he's screaming at the sound guy, and the sound guy's not doing anything. And as he's playing, fuck you, fuck. And it's going through the PA fine, but it's not coming through the monitors. And so he's just screaming these obscenities into this crowd. We played 3 songs, and we were just like, we apologize, we're done. We walked off the stage, we grabbed John. He was like, what? Why are we quitting? And we grabbed him, we walked off the stage, and we almost broke up that night or killed him, one of the two. Ended up making amends, played some shows, and then we had the 4th of July party at my buddy Scott's house, and we played at this 4th of July party. Well, we had a ton of people there. It was a big party, great time. Johnny wanted to be at the party, his brother's party, and wanted us to play there. So he was pissed off already having to be there, and he gets into liquor, a lot of whiskey, I think maybe some Vicodin or something. He starts fighting everybody at this fucking party. He's swinging left, swinging right. People are tackling him left to right. He calmed down. Then he go after somebody else once you let him go. And the very end of the night, Scott's parents come home, you know. We didn't even know they were there. Johnny takes a swing at me. I said something to him when he was getting into Brandon's car, and he takes a swing at me. Before he could even finish his swing, Jay comes out of nowhere, fucking crosses face. They both go flying to my left, right? And I'm just like, I didn't even know what happened yet. And I'm sitting there, and somebody grabs me right away. This kid Baz, I remember this dude, big dude. He grabs me right away and starts holding me back, right? And I'm like, I really am like, I have no intention on fighting him. You know, like this isn't going to happen.
Right.
And then I see my brother get in, and I see Johnny's hand grab my brother, and that's where I was like, "That's my brother!" Baz let go of me. I come running in, pop him in the top of the head with my big fucking middle knuckle, and that was it. I was happy. I walked away. My brother was free. He got up. The only thing he could say is holding the top of his head, "Who hit me in the fucking head?" And I'm sitting there laughing. And so basically, there was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 people beating on him that night. We don't condone gang beatings, but when you piss off 5 or 6 people individually, they're all going to look to get a crack in. And, so we ended up driving him home. We didn't. He rode in Brandon's car. Me and people, I was with my ex-wife at the time, we drove and followed, and then he wanted to fight us again, and he wouldn't get away from Brandon's car, so I had to get out of the car to coax him towards us. And as he came running towards me, I jumped in the car. Brandon jumped in his. We almost backed over him getting out of the driveway, and that was it. So I haven't talked to Johnny and since that night. I know people have Buddy, and people have seen him and stuff. I wish the guy best of luck. I got no hard feelings, but this is what happens when you play stupid games. You win stupid prizes.
That's
so, you know what I mean?
Like, there's so many stories that, like, it's one thing, but like eventually down the line,
well, so let me bring up a point. Okay, so a little insider on that. Buddy was the one who brought Johnny Ballgame into the band. So it was his acquaintance, his friend to begin with. And after that happened, Buddy wasn't a part of the beating. After that happened, Buddy
called the beating,
getting Ballgame.
Right, getting Ballgame.
One of Buddy was the next one to go, like a year later, and I mean, you could tell from that day that his interest started to fade, and it affected him because he considered Johnny a friend, and and we all did to a point. I didn't, but I consider him better than an acquaintance. Right. Somebody I would have backed up if I had to, right. And it was so. It shows you how those things. It's not like we weren't all on that same page. There were 3 of us that wanted him gone, 1 of us that didn't, but it worked out. We had a good long run at it afterwards with my brother and some other people in there.
It's like that with any band, like, like not to interrupt you, but
no,
like,
I'm done.
The Dream Intended had like the same thing with like drummers and guitar players and stuff, and like, you have your height of your success, and then like it starts to fade, and like
you get multiple personalities into one creative thing, and it's very difficult. If you don't all think exactly alike, you have to learn to compromise. Every one of you has to learn to compromise. Not everybody compromises to one person.
Especially when you start writing like the same songs over and over again. Like, you don't want to do that.
You want to expand.
Right. Like, that's why, like, while we were in the Dream Intended, like, Jake and I had so many songs that we moved on with Holtz, and we started doing a hip-hop project just to do it. We had like an entire CD worth of material. I
think that's part of why Brandon, the singer of Drop Monday, who was the founder of Drop Monday, ended up leaving. Another reason why we ended was he ended up doing work with the Dream Intended.
Right.
And it was the same thing. He got sick of the drama and the crap that some people brought, which he brought some of it too. We all did. And so he went a different route, and it was fun. We were all very happy for him. It's just part of what happens. And as friends, we were just more than a band. I mean, we're all friends. Me and Buddy and Brandon and my brother and Cheech, we're all still very close.
Absolutely.
And that was the true difference. We were the main core of the group, the nucleus, the 5 of us, and other people come and go, and some people made it harder to maintain that nucleus, and that's what you got to learn to get rid of.
Right. Right. I completely agree.
Even if they're great musicians with an incredible ear,
doesn't matter.
Nope. It's the group that matters.
I'd rather have somebody that can follow like what somebody else writes and like follow it to a T than be creative and be an asshole. Like
a player over a musician sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's how you got to look at it. Like it sucks, but that's the game that you're playing. Not only that, you have to like know what's going to separate you from everybody else. So in any brand, with any artistry, it's great to say, yes, I fit into this this genre, right? Like we were talking about in our genre episode. This is my genre of like, whatever.
See, I hate that idea. If I feel like writing a fucking funk song and I'm in a rock band, I want to write a fucking funk song.
That's the whole point. That's exactly my point.
And if we want to do a goddamn podcast not about art, then we're going to do a goddamn podcast not about art.
I mean, in all honesty, we're just trying to showcase and tell you.
Yeah, this isn't even really about art. This is about our life as creators, content creators.
I mean, we've done so much shit over the years, like.
We're just touching music. We're not touching art and film and photography.
Yeah, let's talk real quick. So everybody asks me, like, because like I do a lot of photography on the side, and I think it's funny because people will be like, well, why are wedding photographers so expensive?
Oh my God.
Why are wedding videographers so expensive, right? Like I had a video company after college called Paradigm Productions. And the reason that I got out of the business was because the shows that paid, like the gigs that paid, like were not gigs that I wanted to do. The reason why you pay a weddingographer, like somebody who videos your wedding, thousands of dollars.
Weddingographer. It says videographer.
A videographer. But I'm saying specifically doing weddings, not doing like birthday parties.
I actually like the term a lot.
Shows.
I just never heard it before.
Yeah. The reason why you hire somebody like that is because if I'm going to tell you, like, if you ask me how much it's going to cost me for me to photograph your wedding, your special day, your occasion that's only going to happen one time, right? You ask me how many times I want to see that image, because if I do it, I'm going to do it with all these different cameras. I'm going to shoot hundreds, not hundreds, but I'm going to shoot probably at least 12 or 13 hours worth of footage between different cameras, different angles, everything else to cut from to make it a video, right? Do you think I want to watch that? How many times have you watched your wedding video?
Think about how much 12 or 13 hours of your prime time at home is worth to you. How much an hour is worth to you.
Right.
And then multiply that by actually having to do something during that hour that's a skill that you've had to learn and put time into.
That you have to watch and like go over and like
over and over and cut and paste and make sure it lines up. And
my point being is that you quote these ridiculous numbers, and these videographers and these photographers that do strictly weddings, like they quote these ridiculous figures because why? They don't want to do it. And if you're willing to pay for that, sure, I'll fucking do it.
They're quoting what it's worth to them.
Right.
So let me put it this way, a photographer. So you bring a photographer to your wedding. Say they start around 8 a.m. with the makeup and everything, and they're done around 8 or 9 after all the festivities and this, reception, right? So you're already well over a 12-hour day. Then they probably have a second shooter to get other angles and things. So you got 2 people to pay.
Right.
Now that person has to go home, and they've probably taken around 1,000 to 1,500 photographs.
Right.
That day of everything. Gigs of memory. And then they have to go through each fucking one and find the best 100, say, right? And then go back through those 100 and edit out and edit and touch them and change sizes and format them for digital print. I mean, you're talking a full 40-hour week to 2 weeks of work to process those photos afterwards. And you're going to say, well, just send them to me. I'll take them how they are. No, that's bullshit. You don't know how ugly you look until you've seen yourself in an untouched wedding photo. Like, there's a lot of work that goes into that. You don't want them untouched.
Right.
You want them to be looked at by a pro that understands the lighting and, just send me all 1,500. I'll pick the ones I like. No. Plus, it's their property. You only bought the prints. It's their property.
I'm going to cut you right.
Go ahead.
Right there.
Cut me off. I'm done.
I believe that to an extent. However, with that being said, I'm also of that mindset of like, you should be able to take a picture, you should be able to set it up, you should be able to light it,
Oh no, agree.
take a picture without having. Now, yes,
when
there
you
is
can
some
control your
cropping.
environment.
Yes, when you can control your environment.
In my own studio, I could set up my camera and just take a picture based on what I have. Correct. But when you're going in and out of dark and bright lights and everything, and you need to use flashes. Yeah. Well, then you got to color correct flashes because they make ugly photos and stuff. Right. You know.
Right. You bring up a very valid point. And it's the same with video. It's the same with like all art in a sense. You know what I mean? There are different regards that people don't understand. They're like, why does it cost so much to get a wedding video, to get a wedding photographer, to get a wedding this? Because you're capturing one day that you're gonna remember for the rest of your life. And
imagine the stress on the person. So if I take the photos and say the camera fucks up,
right, and
I lost all these photos of your $30,000 day that you're not gonna be able to redo, and I'm not gonna pay to redo. Fuck, that's a lot of stress. A lot of stress. I would never, as a photographer, I would never touch weddings. I just won't do it. I've been asked before. I won't touch weddings. I have done second camera, and I did a horrible job. And the guy told me I did a horrible job because that's not my style of photography. Mine has always been in studio and stuff. And I knew I did a horrible job, and it was left at that. And it was like, all right, I will do it for you guys.
See, I love doing live shit. Like
I never have.
I prefer doing live stuff to like studio setup. Although I'm very good at studio setup, but like live setup, I love doing. And like when you get into like the live setups, it's like, you know, I've done several music videos, and that I enjoy more because it's more like poetic in a way. You can look at it, you can dramatize it, you can create something from it. When you're talking about a wedding, there's only so much that you can create. What are you creating? Love. So this is what you have to try to create and replicate down the road, you know. And it's the same with like a wedding band as well, too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you want people to have a good time, but like, you have to do covers that people know, otherwise they're not going to dance. They're not going to
involve. As that would be, I couldn't.
Right. Could you imagine the stress of doing somebody's wedding? Like
playing the wrong song,
even
or
DJing somebody's wedding.
But so I was at a wedding this past October, and I have to say it was fucking awesome. They had a wedding band that was so amazing. If I remember the name, I'll tell you guys. They were fucking epic. It was really cool. I'll have to find the name and tell you guys. I mean, not my type of thing, but man, these guys were solid. They could put on the show. Entertaining.
I mean, so let's sum it up here. We've talked a lot about a lot of different things today. Final thoughts. we've had a lot of experiences over the years.
Oh yeah.
Across.
And again, we didn't get any of my professional graphic design world yet.
Yeah.
Whole other story.
I got a ton of video stories that I could tell you. One of my retro Joni Perry. Don't let me forget that one, because retro Joni Perry was this bitch wanted me to do a show for to film a show. I do a 3-camera shoot, and she literally calls me every day for a month straight.
Oh.
But she calls me to tell me about this new song that she's gonna do. And it would be like the ABCs, or like the name game, or like, and she would like call me and like sing it to me on the phone, and I'd be like, it'd be like a 2-hour phone call while I'm editing this like 6-hour long, after she told me it was gonna be a half-an-hour show video, and I'm like, shut up, please, like, I don't want to get into it. But that's another road, because there's so much more to that story.
Oh yeah,
that
we'll get into shiesty graphic design clients and stuff too.
Yeah. So to sum everything up, final thoughts. You know, there's a lot of behind the scenes work when it comes to art, and you gotta understand that artists themselves are afraid of what people are going to expect from them. You know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to be a rapper, everybody wants to be a singer, everybody wants to be a photographer, a designer, whatever it may be. But the thing is that you have to understand where your limitations are and how far you can take it, and what you're willing to take to get what you want.
Yeah.
Because it's a give and go. It really is.
Yeah.
So as the final thought for me, art in itself, like even this podcast here, which is backwards because we're doing a video that are going to be podcasts.
I know, we're like a broadcast.
we're a broadcast. That's exactly what
A podcast. Let's do vodcast.
All right, whatever.
So we're gonna do podcast. Like we're in episode 9. I think this one or the next one we'll start putting them up on Spotify and Apple iTunes and podcast versions of this.
Yeah, you'll be able to listen to it. You won't have to watch it on Facebook or YouTube.
We want you to go to Facebook, LOUDdispatch, or Instagram, LOUDdispatch Podcast, or go to YouTube, LOUDdispatch, and like us, subscribe, follow, share us with people. If you don't like us, I could share us and make fun of us. I don't care. Tell everybody how stupid we are as long as you share us.
Mark's wearing a kilt right now.
I'm wearing a goddamn kilt with no underwear.
And I'm sitting next to him.
We're rubbing legs right now, actually.
Could you imagine if there was somebody sitting between us?
I could. Not. Really, there's no room.
No, there's no room.
I put my hand down here and I'm touching his hip and mine. So.
You know what's great though is each week we're getting a little bit better at this, and So
now we got 2 mics.
Yeah.
We're together. We're running sound in and our video together, so you won't have a delay. I hope.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll call out all of our flaws. So yeah, and got 2 done today. Fucking A.
At any rate, everybody, thank you so much for watching.
Oh, was that my final thoughts too?
Yeah. You want to give your final thoughts?
Okay, yeah, I'll give final thoughts. Sunday fun day in Raleigh, baby. Oh, stickers, let us know, share us, and all that other crap. All right. We're LOUDdispatch. We want to say bye to all Loudies. I feel like that wasn't good enough.
You know what? I know this has been going on for a while, but I'm going to go ahead and let you take 2 on that. So, Mark, do you have any final thoughts for this week?
Share that shit. That's it. I don't know what you want from me.
Have you not been entertained?
Have you not?
I told my
I want to do a whole episode. I want to try and learn Christopher Walken's voice. Do a whole episode of Christopher Walken, and then I want to do a whole Bane episode. Gotham.
Did you know that Christopher Walken is like a professional dancer?
Oh yeah, I've seen his Fat Boy Slim video.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying he's actually.
You're talking to my guy all wrong. Do it again. That'd be the face with the solder. I can't do it. So I went to college with a good buddy of mine, Mike Tack. See him on Facebook and shit. He does the best Christopher Walken I've ever seen in my life, and it was so good that we had to do a group presentation once. And I told him, I was like, "You're gonna go first, and you're gonna do your whole part as Christopher Walken." And it was perfect because everybody in the class was laughing so hard at how good as Christopher Walken was. Didn't matter what the fuck we said. No one was paying attention. It was perfect.
This is a great last.
Oh, that's totally it. Yeah. It was, dude. So Sunday fun day. You can't expect much from me.
Yeah. So at any rate, we're gonna try to do this again real soon. We're on episode 9. We're gonna do episode 10 on grilling, but our wives and children are hungry, and that's what
yeah.
And you know what?
We're kind of drunk.
We're kind of drunk. We needed to sober up a little bit. We did some grilling. I
want to do that all episode.
I'll allow it.
No foul.
No foul. No foul on the play. I'll pick up my flag.
Oh, I'll be picking that up as soon as we're done. I just wanted to do that. That looked great.
Fun. It was great. It was fantastic. Anyway, listen. LOUDdispatch. We're going to sign off here. Thank you so much for watching. Share us.
Good night, Loudies.
Have a good night.